Final segment, Vecchio, but of course we focus on the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Hurricanes up 3-1 over the New Jersey Devils, and Carolina continues to have the shortest price in comparison to the rest of our Stanley Cup playoff contenders. 4-1 price on the Canes, plus 650 on the Panthers as those reigning Stanley Cup champs. The Caps have a 3-1 series lead. The Jets, who had one of the shortest prices entering the postseason, Vecchio, and early on in the opening round, now in a tussle, 2-2 series tie against the St. Louis Blues. How do you make sense of where the Stanley Cup odds stand at this moment?
Well, someone that has a Jets ticket at 20-1, which I bet on November 12th, I am heartbroken by the fact that we are seeing the exact same thing from them as we've seen in previous postseasons, where Connor Hellebuck is just not performing, and it's partly his fault, it's partly in the defense in front of him, their fault. It's just all over the place. The Blues have been on fire, as we know, like a 13-game win streak. Great second half of the season for them. At this point, it's really shaping up where the Avs look so dangerous. They really do. And at the price that we're getting them at, I think they are in a good spot because when it comes down to it, I think the Avs are still better than the Blues. That's what it really comes down to. And if the Avs take on the Blues in the second round, I think the Avs will be, at that point, the favorite, the clear favorite that is, not just this jumbled mix in the West, to win the West. And that puts them in a really good spot because I have no faith in Edmonton, despite the fact that they've won 2 games in a row. Yeah. They are not winning in a conducive fashion to playoff hockey. Winning games 4-3, 5-3 is not what we should be seeing. So the Avs just look so good right now.
A crazy game last night for Edmonton over the Kings. They were trailing. They scored the game-tying goal in regulation with fewer than 30 seconds remaining. Leon Draisaitl scoring early in OT to give the Oilers the win. Vecchio, all 4 of our opening round sets from the Western Conference perspective tied at 2 games apiece right now. A lot that we love so far in the Stanley Cup postseason, including our 5th game tonight in Dallas between the Stars and the Avalanche. Again, tied at 2 games apiece. Colorado won the opening game in game number 4. Dallas winning the 2 games in between. The Stars back on home ice in Big D, Vecchio, but a slight underdog tonight. Does that line make sense to you?
It does. The Avs look so good. Dallas, especially Jake Ottinger, just kind of all over the place and not really what we should be expecting from that defense overall. I think there is just objective value on taking a home team with plus money we can get at plus 116 on the money line. I think that's fine. It is 5.5 for the total. It's juiced to the over. So that is implying that we should be seeing some goals. So we see that goal early. And then that's the point. If the line jumps up to 6.5, I'd be willing to take under 6.5, even if it is with juice, minus 130, minus 140, whatever it might be. Yeah. I see this game ending, 3-2, 4-2. So I don't want to play the 4-2. That's what I'm expecting the final score to be. I don't want to play that with 5.5. I'd rather go under 6.5 with juice again if we do get that line.
The Avs had a 7-1 number to win Lord Stanley's Cup, shortest price of any team right now from the Western Conference. Road favorite in Game 5 tonight, series tied at 2-all. A Game 4 tonight as well in the Sunshine State Showdown. Of course, Vecchio, the reigning Stanley Cup champs, that's second best price of plus 650. But they're not the team with the advantage in their opening round series against their in-state foes. The Lightning winning in Game number 3 in Sunrise had that 2-1 series lead. The Bolts, though, a road underdog tonight in Game 4. Will Florida equalize in this opening round set?
I mean, I don't know who's going to win, but this game's all about the under. We've seen this kind of back and forth, a ton of goals, no goals, a ton of goals. Game 4 sets up to have very, very low scoring. And when we look at some of the advanced numbers, we are seeing the Lightning, at least in Game 2, we saw them have some really solid high danger chances, which come close to net inside the slot. They weren't converting them. What do you know, in Game 3, they score a ton of goals. So I expect that inverse to happen, where they're not going to have the chances and they're not going to be scoring a ton of goals because Florida and Paul Maurice, as the head coach, always make those game-to-game adjustments. So I don't know who wins. I think it's largely a coin flip. Minus 142 is somewhat accurate in the price. I would put it at minus 125, but under 5.5 is the clear play for this matchup.
It is as well, Vecchio. Interesting to see the Bolts having a 2-1 series lead. Pretty close split here in terms of those money line prices for game number 4. But the Lightning, not one of those 10 best prices to win the Stanley Cup at this moment. Not on that board. despite the fact the team they had the series lead over the reigning champs, the Florida Panthers, at plus 650. Tom Vecchio, as always, your time is the best time. Great prop perspective on this Monday. That does it for us on this Monday on the early line as well. Talk to you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, here on the Grid.